Welcome to class 15 of secretarial practice. Today we are going to discuss the clauses or contents of memorandum of association. So section 13 of the Companies Act lays down that the memorandum of association of every company shall carry the following contents. So the first content is your name clause. So what is this name clause? Name clause is the first clause of memorandum of association. This clause states the name of the proposed company. The name of the company is the symbol of its existence. So what is this? This clause contains the name of proposed company, and a company is free to use any name it likes, but such freedom is subject to some restrictions or conditions. So whatever name you are going to set, the name of the proposed company what you are going to set, the company being a legal person must have its name or have a name to establish its entity, and the name of the company should not be too similar to the another company. So the company should end with the word limited in case of public company. In case of private company, it should be private limited. So however, the company, if it is formed for promoting arts, science, culture, sports, etc., so then what happens? You should not use this limited or private limited or public limited name. Okay, so here it is exempted from using such words. So the company, whatever name you are going to choose, so that should not be too similar or too identical to the name which the company has already registered. So for example, XYZ company is already registered, and you should not use the same name for your company. Then the next is, it says the company should not use the name of king, queen, royal, emperor, or which denotes that the government it has some government support. Okay, so you should not use the name of the king, queen, emperor, so anything like that. The next is, it says that the emblem, what do you mean by emblem? So it says that the emblem act also prohibits the use of the name, so improper use of the state emblem of India for the professional or commercial purpose, so it is restricted. And when you are going to choose the name or adopt the name which attracts the provisions of your emblem act, so what happens? It is not ethical, so it is unethical, we can say, or we can say it is illegal. So every company, what they have to do is, whatever name they have and the address of the register office, so that should be printed and painted and kept it outside the office, or we can say it should be placed in which the business of the company is conducted. Okay, and whatever provisions I have said so far, so these provisions should be compulsorily complied with, and if they fail to do that, so the fine will be up to 5,000 rupees. The next is your registered office clause. So registered office clause is nothing but your domicile clause, we say. So what this clause says? So this clause says the mention whatever the state is there, mention the state in which the company is registered, or we can say the state in which the company's registered office is situated. So although it is not necessary to mention so exact city or town where the registered office is situated, so full address should be given. The full address of the registered office should be given. Why it should be given? In order to communicate, right? So this should be given at least, or it should be informed to the registered office at least 30 days of the incorporation, or from the date of the commencement of business, whichever is earlier. So any communication, any notice, whatever you are going to send on behalf of the company, or it should be addressed to its registered office. So similarly, all important books, all important registered, statutory registered shall also be kept there. So there is some typing mistake here. You may follow the words what I am going to explain here. Okay. Suppose you have see any mistakes in this PowerPoint. So within 30 days, so not within 3 days, it is within 30 days of incorporation. So the next clause is objective clause or object clause we say. So what is this object clause? So it defines the objectives of the company, extent of its power and its activity. So this is the most important part of memorandum. So it defines the area of company's activity. So a company cannot conduct its business which is not mentioned in the object clause. So if any act of the company which goes beyond the object clause, so that becomes ultra virus, and this ultra virus, intra virus, so that I am going to explain you in the further classes. Okay. So here what happens, whatever it is mentioned in the memorandum of association, what object you are going to mention in the memorandum of association, only that you have to follow. And if you are going beyond that, what happens, it takes a name called as ultra virus, and hence it is not binding of the company. So here what happens, there are some following things, so that it says the object should not include anything which is illegal. Whatever object you are going to set, so that should not be illegal or against the general law, and it should not violate, or it should not go against any provisions that are given in the Companies Act, and the object should not include anything which is against the public policy, for instance trading with enemy countries. So okay, one is it should not be against the public policy, it should not be against the Companies Act, and it should not be against, or the object of the business should not be against the law, or it should not be illegal. The next is liability clause. So liability clause, this clause states the nature of the liability of its member. Okay, it defines the nature of liability that the members incur. So as I have given you the example in the previous or past classes, saying that the liability of the member is limited, so limited to the extent of its face value. So how much shares they are going to hold, suppose they have fully paid for the shares, so what happens, their liability will be nil. So in case of the company limited by guarantee, the liability of member is limited to the specific amount which the members agree to contribute in the event of winding up. So I have told you while explaining the company limited by guarantee, so there will be the guarantor. So in this company we do not have any share capital, or we do not subscribe the capital, so there will be some people who are called as guarantor, and what they do, they agreed to contribute some amount at the time of winding up, and whatever they are going to agree to contribute at the end, so that will be there in the memorandum of association, and how much they have agreed to contribute, so that will be their liability. The next is capital clause. So what is this capital clause? Capital clause says that the share capital with which the company is proposed to be registered, right? So capital clause says that whatever amount of capital which the company with which the company is registered, and the value of share in which it is divided, so that we call it as capital clause. So what happens here, you are going to collect the capital, and it states, this clause states that how the total capital is divided into types of shares and what is the face value of each share. So this is known as authorized capital, nominal capital, or registered capital, or the total capital of the company. So the company can raise more capital, the company have no rights to raise more capital what is been authorized, right, for the time being. So by the memorandum, whatever it is mentioned in the memorandum as authorized capital, so for the time being, so they cannot raise more than that. So though the act does not lay down any specific rule for fixing of authorized capital of the company, it should be large enough to meet the present need and possible expansion in the future. The next is subscription clause or association clause. So this clause of memorandum of association states the minimum subscription. So this clause contains the declaration from the subscriber saying that, in the memorandum saying that they have desired to form themselves into the company and agree to take up number of shares which are set against their respective name. Okay, so they themselves are willing to take it, so they are going to give the declaration. So it must be mentioned that no subscriber shall take less than one share. So it means they should take at least one share. The memorandum has to be subscribed to by at least 7% in case of public company. In case of private company, there should be at least 2%. And the signature of each subscriber must be attested by at least one witness who shall not be the subscriber. Then the next is alteration of memorandum of association. So when the company, as I told you in the previous class, it is very hardly to, or we can say strict speakingly, it should not be altered, right? So it is unchangeable. A company, strictly speaking, shall not alter the contents or the conditions contained in the memorandum, except in case, in the mode and the extent for which express provisions has been or have been made in the company's act. So the conditions contained in the memorandum may be altered as under. So first, if you want to change the name clause, okay, if you want to change the name clause, company may change its name. So as I told you, it is strictly prohibited, or we cannot alter the conditions. So by taking the central government's permission and by passing the special resolution in the company, we can change the name of the company. So change the name from private to public. So change the name from private to public. So changing private to public means, suppose your company is so far private and you want to convert it into public limited. So what you do, you are going to convert it. So it is said that only you can add or delete the word private here. So private limited to limited, you are going to delete the word private. So limited company, so you are going to convert it into private company. It means private limited. Here you are going to add the word private. The next is change the name from XYZ Limited to ABC Limited. So which means the name of the company you are going to change. So to change this, in such case, central government can also direct the company to change its name within 12 months of registration of the company. So the company can change its name. The registrar enters the new name in the register of the company in the place of the old name and issues a fresh certificate of incorporation with necessary alteration. The changed name shall be complete and effective only when the certificate or issue of such certificate, when the certificate is issued. The next is secretarial duties in connection to the change of name clause, so that we are going to discuss in the next class.